It's now 8 rounds or I won't be fighting. You didn't want to do 8, so who's the more prepared? Who's the more prepared? You're not ready. You're not ready, dickhead.
I'm not sick of the sport yet. I still love boxing. I still love getting up in the morning and running. I love watching my body change over the 3 months of training camp.
This press conference just turned into an absolute war zone, and Darren Till came loaded for bear. The man walked into that room with one mission: to get inside Carl Froch's head and tear him apart psychologically before they ever step foot in a ring. And let me tell you something, the threats coming out of Till's mouth weren't your typical pre-fight trash talk. This was personal. This was visceral. This was a man who's been waiting for this moment, and finally got his chance to unleash everything he's been holding back. The entire room went dead silent as Till delivered blow after blow of psychological warfare, each word calculated to strip away Froch's legendary aura and expose what Till believes is just an aging fighter living off past glory.
Shit house, you didn't want to shake hands. You're a shit house. Tried to do the pulling game, so you don't want to shake hands like.
But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Carl Froch didn't even flinch. While everyone expected fireworks, while everyone thought we'd see the Cobra come out swinging verbally, Froch did something way more dangerous. He responded with ice-cold composure that sent chills through the room. This is a man who went 12 rounds of hell with Andre Ward, who's been in wars that would break most fighters mentally and physically, and Till's barrage of threats. Froch treated it like background noise. He calmly referenced his legendary ring IQ, his movement, his tactical awareness, all the tools that made him one of the most feared super middleweights in boxing history. And then came the kicker. Froch made it crystal clear that he's learned from every single fight, every single mistake, and he knows exactly how to prepare for whatever Till thinks he's bringing to the table.
Touch me. if you watch the fight against Andre Ward, watch my feet, watch what I was doing, watch my head movement or the lack of it, and my sluggish jab, you know, then...
Now get this, Till wasn't backing down. In fact, Froch's calm response seemed to trigger something even more dangerous in the MMA fighter. Till doubled down hard, and this is where things got legitimately concerning for everyone in that room. The man started name-dropping John Fury and his entire family, making it clear he's not just ready for a fight with Froch, but he's prepared to go to war with anyone connected to this situation. We're talking about a level of intensity that goes way beyond normal pre-fight promotion. Till's words were fearless, almost reckless, like a man who's reached a point where consequences don't matter anymore. The press conference transformed into this psychological battlefield where Till was basically saying, "I don't care who you are, I don't care what your reputation is, I'm coming for all of it."
To everyone, I'm here to do what I'm here to do. And I couldn't give a fuck if I bumped into John Fury and the family in the street now, because it's on them what they want to do. They're more asked about me than I'm asked about them, so if they want it, I'll have it with every fucking single one of them in the street, and I'll get my head completely
But wait, it gets worse. Froch's next response was absolutely brutal, and this is where you could see the difference between a seasoned champion and someone trying to prove themselves. Froch dismantled Till with surgical precision, acknowledging that sure, Till has some basic skills, decent balance, and a competent southpaw stance. But then came the devastating part. Froch essentially called this fight a formality. He framed the entire matchup as one-sided, implying that Till poses about as much real threat as a heavy bag. The way Froch delivered this wasn't emotional or heated. It was matter-of-fact, like a professor explaining why 2 + 2 = 4. That calm confidence combined with years of elite-level experience created this aura that basically said, "I've been here before, you haven't, and we both know how this ends."
The old Bunsen burner, I'm thinking to myself, hang on a minute. They're giving money away here with these fights because Darren Till's absolutely fucking useless. I'm not being funny, listen, I'm talking about professional boxing level. At the level he's at, he's done all right. He's got decent balance, throws a decent backhand from the southpaw stance.
Here's what nobody's talking about, though. The experts started weighing in, and their analysis reveals something way more complex than just old champion versus hungry challenger. Pain Game, who knows these fighters better than almost anyone, painted a picture of Carl Froch that should terrify any opponent. We're talking about a man whose dedication to fitness borders on obsession, whose size and peak performance capabilities remain elite even years after retirement. But here's the kicker: Eddie Hearn apparently told stories about Froch being the type of fighter you'd want in your corner both in and out of the ring. That's not just about boxing skills, that's about mental toughness, loyalty, and the kind of presence that commands respect from everyone around him. When Till is trying to intimidate someone like that, he's not just facing a former champion, he's going up against someone whose reputation was built on being unfazable.
Like, Carl's a genuine, like, world champion level fighter, and he's actually bigger than you'd think, right, when you meet him. He's a lot younger than John, and his peak was outrageously good, right? And he's kept himself in shape. And even now, I remember having a chat with Eddie Hearn, like, about, like, you know, what fighter you've met is, like, the toughest fighter. And he said to me, like, if I'm ever in a bit of bother, the man I want standing next to me at a pub or whatever is Carl.
And get this, Johnny Nelson dropped some serious knowledge about the mental chess match happening behind the scenes. While there's definitely public appetite for this fight, while fans are going crazy for this matchup, Froch's decision-making remains completely strategic. We're talking about a man whose ego and priorities, both financial and legacy-wise, are being calculated with surgical precision. Nelson pointed out that Froch has the skill and power to absolutely dominate Till, but he's not jumping into anything recklessly. For Till, this creates this incredibly frustrating dynamic where he's trying to bait a legend into a fight, but that legend is operating on a completely different level mentally. It's like trying to provoke a grandmaster chess player while you're still learning the rules.
The main men of the zone saying, look, there is an appetite there. So now the conversation is, will Carl do it? Carl's saying, give me 6 weeks, I'll smash him. Carl won't do it. Carl doesn't need to do it. Carl's got mad money, as he says. And the thing is that I think will keep him out is ego. God forbid he went in with Till and got to...
Now listen to this part, because Tony Bellu's breakdown reveals the brutal reality of what we're looking at. The skill gap between Carl Froch and Darren Till in a traditional boxing match isn't just significant, it's absolutely massive. While Till thrives on aggression, intimidation, and psychological warfare, Dominic's technical experience and ring intelligence would create a completely different type of fight than what Till is used to. Froch even painted this darkly humorous picture of scenarios outside the ring, basically reinforcing that whether we're talking about boxing, street fighting, or any other form of combat, Froch's superiority creates an uphill battle for Till that might be impossible to overcome. The man has been tested at the highest levels of professional boxing and came out legendary.
But if Carl did do it, I think Carl would smash him. But I just don't think he will do it. Because he's got that memory, he's got that something about him, that he's at an age where he's still physically fit enough and strong enough if he commits himself to the preparation.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Froch Ingle shared some insider perspective that adds layers to this whole situation. Beyond Froch's in-ring abilities, beyond his championship pedigree, we're talking about someone whose professionalism and dedication earn respect from everyone in the boxing community. Ingle described Bellew as approachable despite his intimidating reputation, someone with deep knowledge of boxing who commands admiration from peers Froch's seen it all. This means Till isn't just facing a former champion on paper. He's going up against someone whose psychological edge was built over years of earning respect from people who don't respect easily. That's the kind of mental advantage that can break fighters before they even step through the ropes.
It's a fair playing field in a boxing ring, if I'm being totally honest. I mean, Carl's a former world champion. He is a unified champion. Froch was a force to be reckoned with.
Hold up, because Liam Smith's analysis reveals something crucial about the psychological warfare we're witnessing. Smith pointed out that Till brings this intense, almost chaotic energy to press conferences, using aggressive and confrontational tactics that have worked for him in MMA. But here's what's brilliant about Froch's approach. He's wisely avoiding escalating tension outside the ring. Smith suggests this is because Froch recognizes the psychological games Till is trying to play and refuses to participate on Till's terms. While Till relies on intimidation and theatrics to get opponents emotional and reactive, Froch's experience allows him to navigate these situations with complete composure. It's like watching someone try to start a fight with a stone wall. The wall doesn't react, doesn't engage, just stands there being immovable.
Boxing ring, I don't think that's very fair on Darren. But if it is, you know, if they two were to meet in a dark alley somewhere, I don't think Carl's coming out.
And here's the kicker: experts are starting to acknowledge the reality of time and what it means for both fighters. While Carl Froch remains this intimidating, legendary figure whose physicality and veteran experience command respect, he's been out of competitive boxing for 11 years. 11 years. That's not just ring rust. That's an entirely different challenge when it comes to transitioning from bag work and training to actual combat against someone who's been competing recently. Yet despite this massive layoff, analysts still describe Froch as retaining the power and skill that made him elite, plus the psychological and physical presence that demands respect. For Till, this creates this fascinating dynamic where he's facing someone who might be vulnerable due to inactivity, but whose peak capabilities were so high that even a diminished version could be dangerous.
In 3 rounds, a brilliant knockout. We saw Carl Froch, Carl's said a lot of stuff about Darren in recent months on his YouTube channel. Darren jumped out the ring and he's offered Carl out. Carl sat back munching on his red apple. What did you make of that whole scenario?
First of all, I went, Carl, what are you doing? What? Because I know he's been giving Till some stick, and so I thought maybe he's.
Now here's where expert opinion gets really divided, and this is what makes this potential fight so compelling. Liam Smith acknowledges that time has inevitably changed Froch. The man is older. He's been out of the ring, and he's definitely not the same physical force he was during his championship years. But Smith also expresses genuine excitement about this matchup because of how these changes create unpredictable dynamics. We're looking at a clash where legendary experience and ring intelligence meet youthful aggression and recent competitive activity. It's like asking whether a retired master craftsman can still outwork an eager apprentice who's been practicing daily. The variables are so complex that even experts can't definitively predict the outcome.
Fucking threatened to choke you and all that, do you know what I mean? So it's the last thing I'd want anyway, so fucking think Carl just got off rather than have the aggro of, Darren Till in front of him, screaming, shouting and spitting in his face.
Ask you for a prediction. Carl Froch was a Till on the streets and in the ring. 2 scenarios, who wins?
Oh, look, I don't know, it's all look.
But wait, it gets even more complex when you hear Lennox Lewis break down Froch's advantages with surgical precision. Lewis highlighted Froch's size advantage, his power, and most importantly, his tactical awareness that comes from years of elite competition. Here's what's terrifying for any Froch opponent. Lewis pointed out that most fighters lack the defensive sophistication to deal with Froch's precise punches, his feints, and his devastating body shots. We're talking about a fighter whose mastery of technique and timing made him extremely dangerous even against world-class opposition. Lewis framed Froch as this calculating machine capable of dominating fights through strategy rather than just raw power, which creates a completely different type of challenge than what Till might be expecting from his MMA experience.
And he's scary. He's a scary, intimidating man. I don't know if it's the Liverpudlian accent or knowing that he could take this to the ground and finish you that way. I feel like these MMA guys are scary because they know that they are the toughest guys on the street, right? It's not just, back in the day, the baddest man on the planet was the boxer. It's not that anymore, is it? I don't know who they're going to find to fight him.
Carl Froch?
I mean, there was a bit of a fight him.
Do you not think?
Well, Carl's not fought for 11 years. I know he still looks great and he hits the bag, but no one's hit him with small gloves for.
Here's what gets really interesting, though. Froch here provided some sobering analysis about what a decade away from competition really means. While Froch would have dominated this type of matchup effortlessly during his prime, Hearn pointed out that his long absence from taking real punches in competitive situations may have softened him physically and mentally. But here's the thing. This doesn't completely negate his experience, skill, or ring IQ that were developed over years of elite competition. Meanwhile, Darren Till, despite all his bravado and trash talk, is definitely aware of the challenge he's facing. This creates what Hearn described as a near 50-50 scenario where preparation and strategy become as crucial as raw talent or physical conditioning.
Carl Froch is an unbelievable fighter, and Darren Till knows that. Carl Froch is an older version of himself now, been out the ring a long time. Whether he wants to fight again is a different story, but look, I would love to see it now. On the street.
And get this, George Groves gave probably the most realistic assessment of what we're actually looking at. While Froch looks sharp in photos and appears to maintain his physical conditioning, Groves emphasized the massive mental and physical challenge of stepping back into competitive fighting after years away. Here's the crucial point, though. Froch still knows what it's like to get punched, still has that ring awareness that can't be replaced with training alone. But Groves expressed serious doubts about whether Froch truly wants to commit to this challenge. There's a difference between claiming readiness and actually being willing to go through the physical and mental preparation required for elite competition. This creates tension where Froch might be capable but unwilling, while Till is willing but potentially incapable.
They're bigger, heavier, potentially, probably not stronger than me. I'm a machine.
Yeah.
I'm like genetically gifted and all that.
And it only takes one punch. And they're not good defensive fighters anyway. They, they go for the okie doke. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Give him one of those.
Give him a little feint.
Yeah.
Couple of feints, good foot movement, walk him into a shot.
Yeah.
Probably dominate him with a jab.
They don't know about body shots either.
So what you thinking? Easy work for the Cobra?
Easy work for the Cobra. Can I be your coach, please?
Jump in the corner, man. Easy money for the Lewis machine.
Yeah. I want to be his coach.
Now listen to Till's response to all this expert analysis, because his statement reveals everything about his mindset going into this potential clash. Till is painting Froch as this outdated fighter whose power has been dulled by age and inactivity, while simultaneously presenting himself as physically and mentally primed for what he calls revenge. Till's comparing himself to elite MMA fighters and referencing his current physical condition, basically saying he's not just talking trash, he's backing it up with preparation and readiness for combat. The psychological warfare Till is using involves portraying himself as this vengeful, unstoppable force while depicting Froch as living off past glory. It's classic intimidation tactics designed to plant seeds of doubt in his opponent's mind.
Since he's boxed. So 10 years ago, he would have smashed Darren Till all over the shop, right? And I think Darren actually, for all Darren's madness, he's not an idiot. I think he knows that. But 10 years on, and not having took a punch in 10 years, and definitely gone a bit softer, because that's just life, it all of a sudden becomes, dare I say.
But here's where Carl Froch delivered what might be the most devastating response of this entire buildup. Froch's comeback was a masterclass in confidence and psychological dominance, referencing his Hall of Fame career and highlighting the resilience that defined his legendary status. Here's what's brilliant about Froch's approach. He challenged Till's bravado directly while contrasting Till's limited experience with his own proven track record of overcoming adversity. Froch emphasized that setbacks never stopped him from recovering and winning, projecting this aura of invincibility that's based on actual accomplishments rather than just words. This response essentially established a mental hierarchy where Froch's measured confidence deflated Till's attempts at intimidation.
This is Till. I don't know, man. He's 48 years old now, Froch. He looks good when he takes a picture, with a moody light in after a few abs and that. But Darren Till, he's still fighting, isn't he? He still knows what it's like to get punched in the teeth. It's been a while since Froch's been punched in the teeth. So I think he does well. I think it sells. I think if he wants to do it, he should do it. But I got a feeling Froch don't want it. I don't think Froch wants it. I think he says he wants it, but when it comes down to it.
So here's what we're really looking at. This isn't just a potential fight between a former boxing champion and a current MMA fighter. This is a psychological war between two completely different approaches to combat sports, two different generations of fighters, and two vastly different levels of proven elite experience. Till brings youth, recent competitive activity, and aggressive intimidation tactics. Froch brings legendary status, proven resilience under pressure, and the kind of calm confidence that only comes from years of elite competition. The experts are divided on whether time has made Froch vulnerable or whether his peak capabilities were so high that even a diminished version remains dangerous. And honestly, that uncertainty might be exactly what makes this potential matchup so compelling to fans who want to see these questions answered definitively. What do you think happens if these two actually step in the ring together? Drop your prediction in the comments. Does Till's youth and recent activity overcome Froch's legendary experience? Or does the Cobra prove that class is permanent? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really at stake in this psychological war, smash that like button, subscribe for more combat sports analysis, and hit the notification bell because this story is far from over.
The opinion of people that I respect. So I spoke to Rob McCracken, my old coach, and the feedback was positive, more positive than what I thought it would be. I actually broke contact with Eddie Hearn, so there's a bit more to develop on that front. I've also been speaking to.
The real question everyone's asking though is whether this fight will actually happen, because behind all the trash talk and psychological warfare, there are some serious business considerations at play. Eddie Hearn has been dropping hints about the financial logistics, and let me tell you something, the numbers being discussed are absolutely staggering. We're talking about a crossover event that could potentially break pay-per-view records, especially in the UK market where both fighters have massive followings. But here's the catch: Froch's demands aren't just about money. They're about legacy protection, and that creates complications that go way beyond simple fight negotiations. What's fascinating is how this potential matchup is exposing the broader tensions between boxing and MMA communities. Till represents this new generation of fighters who believe their well-rounded skill sets give them advantages over traditional boxers, while Froch embodies the old-school mentality that pure boxing technique and ring intelligence trump everything else. Social media has been absolutely exploding with fans from both sports picking sides, creating this tribal warfare that's generating more buzz than most actual championship fights. The betting odds are shifting daily as more experts weigh in, with some bookmakers struggling to set accurate lines because there's literally no historical precedent for this specific type of matchup. Here's something nobody saw coming, though. John Fury's involvement has added layers of complexity that go way beyond the original Till versus Froch narrative. Sources close to the situation are suggesting that John Fury's camp sees this as an opportunity to make a statement about the Fury family's dominance across multiple combat sports platforms. When Till started name-dropping the Fury family during that press conference, he wasn't just talking trash. He was potentially opening the door to a much bigger situation involving multiple fighters and multiple grudges. Industry insiders are whispering about the possibility of this turning into some kind of team warfare scenario that could reshape how crossover events are structured in the future. But wait, because there's another angle that's been flying under the radar: the training camp dynamics that would be required for both fighters. Froch would need to shake off 11 years of ring rust while maintaining the technical precision that made him elite, which means we're talking about months of intensive preparation with world-class sparring partners and cutting-edge conditioning programs. Meanwhile, Till would need to completely restructure his fighting approach, abandoning the kicks, takedowns, and clinch work that define MMA while developing the pure boxing combinations and defensive footwork necessary to survive against a former world champion. The physical and mental challenges both fighters would face during preparation might be more grueling than the actual fight itself. And here's where it gets really interesting from a tactical perspective. Boxing analysts are starting to break down specific scenarios about how this fight would actually unfold minute by minute. The consensus seems to be that Till's best chance involves pressuring Froch early, using his youth and recent activity to overwhelm the veteran before Froch's ring intelligence takes control. But Froch's supporters argue that his experience against elite pressure fighters like Mikkel Kessler and Andre Ward proves he can handle aggressive opponents while systematically breaking them down with superior technique and conditioning. The stylistic matchup creates these fascinating questions about whether raw athleticism can overcome tactical mastery, and whether modern training methods can bridge the gap between sports. What's absolutely wild is how this situation has attracted attention from combat sports legends who normally stay out of contemporary drama. Multiple Hall of Fame fighters have started offering their perspectives, creating this incredible collection of expert analysis that reads like a master class in combat psychology. Some are backing Froch's proven championship mentality, while others believe Till's multi-dimensional background gives him tools that traditional boxers can't prepare for. The debate has become so intense that it's generating its own media coverage, with sports networks dedicating entire segments to breaking down the hypothetical technical aspects of a fight that might never happen.